more serious, and with it, you start to emulate what a lot of the big teams do. So,
Let's go. Infernal Shrines. This is game number 1. We've got Flame is Lame taking on Team LL.
Infernal Shrine's going to be our first map here for this one, and Flame is Lame has been waiting to get ready and get into the Nexus, so I think they're going to be wanting to come out with something that they can really show off their skills here. One of the best teams in the HGC Open Division, and LL able to get that last one, that game 2, to extend it. They did end up winning that game 3 by default there, but Flame is Lame going to be their first map pick, so they're going to be looking to macro here, I think, on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, sometimes if you're unsure about what a team plays or what their style is, you just ban safely. You ban meta, which in this case is Dahaka or Ariel. In this case, they go with the Dahaka. They have first pick. They could choose to go into the Ariel. There it is, back to back. This is what you do when you're unsure of what the team plays. You just ban the strongest, or at least what's considered by the majority to be the strongest macro. And this is what they do here.
Yeah, so that leaves a lot open here for LL. They did show us in that first series that they do like to prioritize the Uther pretty highly. And with the Ariel off the table, could be a good first pickup for them to be able to really dominate the support game to start off this draft.
Yeah, they've shown a little bit of priority onto Nubarak as well. I would be surprised to see him prioritize this highly up on this one. There are a lot of other warriors that fill the role here on Infernal Shrines. You see Arthas, you see Diablo, and even sometimes ETC on here as well. All of those picks are also picks of Flame is Lame. So you have to pick both to your strength, but also to pick away from the enemy team as well. I don't know if LL has that information, knowledge. They go with you there.
So going pretty standard to start this one out. The insta-locks in Illidan and Rhaegar. So Flame is Lame are going to show us the execution potential here. Illidan, a very high-risk, high-reward, high-execution hero. And Flame is Lame, showing that they are confident. They know exactly what they want. The snap picks come in. And now LL is going to have to show us what they want to respond with here.
Yeah, when you talk about drafting and the clock that you have, some teams opt to use the whole clock so that they can think about these picks and the next round's picks. But when you snap lock something in, that sends 2 messages. One, we know what we're doing, we know what we want. And the other one is just pure intimidation. We don't care what you pick, we know what we're going to do, and we're going to do it.
You know, and that's something we'll see a lot of the best teams do, is that they know what strategy they want. If those things are open, they will go ahead and lock it in. And yeah, here I don't think they care what LL is going to be doing. They know that they want to play that Illidan comp. They pick the 2 biggest components of it. They're going to deny the Greymane, which is not something we've seen LL play. But talk about that Arthas and Artanis in here. Double frontline yet again for the side of LL. High prioritization on that Artanis.
Yeah, a beautiful pickup on the Arthas. We talked about Arthas being able to be played on Infernal Shrines. I like that as a counter. Now, what might happen, though, is that Illidan actually plays the macro game, and he is just on the other side of the battleground. Now, that does give you the opportunity to win the objective. You just need to make sure you get as much or more with the objective. Cho'Gall coming.
And here it is. The Greymane ban, kind of foreshadowing that Cho'Gall. And boy, talk about insta-snap picks. Flame is Lame know exactly what they wanted for this map choice that they had here in Game 1.
New follower.
Luckily, they do have the Artanis picked up already later on. Titan Killer, that is actually a pretty dirty combination of talents if you go into that Artanis. Arthas, not bad. He's got a lot of sustain, a little bit of lockdown here, but you know, he doesn't add a lot in terms of that percentage damage. Can he pull other people out of position? Well, maybe if Rhaegar steps out too far, gets those slows on him, he wouldn't be able to get away. You can take down the old doggo, but we'll see what they pick up on the back end here.
Yeah, I think Rhaegar has to be a main focus for the side of LL. that ancestral healing gets value on few heroes more than it does on the Cho'Gall. With that huge hero pool, it's a lot easier to hit ancestral on him than others. It's the Tychus and the Lily. So full counter picks in for the end of this draft from LL, as they are going to pick up the Lily for the blinds to counter the Illidan, and the Tychus for that percentage-based damage to counter the Cho'Gall.
This is a really scary draft. It's a great response from LL with that percentage damage on Tychus. The extra pickup of Lily, though, that's almost, you could say, very European. I mean, they were one of the ones to pick them up. Blinding Winds, the extra sustain. I mean, Lily doesn't add a whole bunch to the objective itself, but being able to sustain and stay on the objective, that's going to help out. Lucio as a last pick.
Things are getting weird again, hero. Lucio coming out. Going to give some extra mobility to Flame is Lame here, as well as some extra sustained healing. And trusting in the carry potential from the Illidan and from that Cho'Gall. They just figure if they have enough support for it. Flame is Lame, well known for their double support play as well. So see if they're able to turn this one into a win here on Infernal Shrines with that double support.
You're right about that. Double support does seem to be the meta that most teams are falling back to. I wasn't expecting a Lucio. I haven't seen one of those in a very, very long time. I'm curious to see what their rotations are going to be like here. They can actually go with a 2-3 here, and I think it's up to LL to match that rotation properly. The 2-3 can actually do a lot of damage up in the top lane if it's not responded to correctly. It should be Trap Queen up there, potentially with Dark Chimera. They might want the Lucio to run around with the Cho'Gall to make sure he's got that movement speed. Because Cho'Gall can basically do the wave clear on his own.
Yeah, the constant damage coming out from Deadly Ice on that Gall. It's worth mentioning also that that you got a couple of solid support players over on the side of Flame is Lame. So I feel like they draft that a lot of times because they just have very skilled players in that position. It's actually going to be Legend on the Lucio. So we see him on a lot of high mobility heroes as well. So his positioning is always pretty on point. We are loading in here for game number 1. Flame is Lame is going to be your team on the left, and that is going to be Shot and Deadly Ice going to be playing the Cho'Gall. Legend is going to be on the Lucio. Trap Queen is going to be playing the Illidan, and Dark Chimera on the Rhaegar.
And for Team LL, Legio Luciferum, you've got Unalesca on Arcanus. You're my boy Blue, playing Arthas. You've got Entropy Fails, this time flexing it over to Lily. Lucifer on the Uther, and Mixels on Tychus.
And right away, we're going to see Flame is Lame rotating out to the lanes. They're not interested in this early fight. They want to prioritize the wave clear and the XP potential. They want to get an early lead here, hero.
Yeah, a little bit extra poke coming out from Shoy Ice. And surprisingly, it's just the Illidan up in the top lane, still running a traditional 1-4 with the double support here. Rhaegar can clear up that bottom lane. If they can delay this rotation here, they might actually delay them some of that experience. So they're actually just looking to out macro them, like straight up, just force them out of XP. And you can see Legend and Cho'Gall here forcing them out of that bottom lane. They're gonna miss an entire wave.
Yeah, solid rotational response here from Flame is Lame, just cutting them off from that bottom lane, while Dark Chimera able to get that extra damage, or that extra, well, a little bit of extra seeds, but mostly that extra XP. And it's already starting to show on the board here for Flame is Lame with the slight XP lead.
Yeah, great response up to the top lane, though. It's Arthas versus Illidan. That's a really tough lane here. But these two supports are actually being bullies, stepping up into the vent here. And they're not afraid just to keep forcing them out of the bottom lane. They can't do a 1-4 anymore. LL has got to make an adjustment. They might need to break it up into a 1-2-2 here, which is what they opt to do. But, you know, they think the damage is done. They've gotten a level experience just from this early game.
Yeah, I gotta love the rotations coming out from Flame is Lame. You knew they had to have a plan here with this being their map choice. Meanwhile, we are going to see the Shrine in the bot lane, where we already see a little bit of the ammo falling out. But here comes Cho'Gall going in onto Entropy Fails. He is getting poked down very low. We'll be able to waltz his way on out of there. Lily a little bit faster with that fleet-footed passive there to be able to get out of trouble. And the double heal will be able to slowly bring her back up. But Uther soaking in the mid, trying to get them level 4 right now. Meanwhile, Flame is Lame will go ahead and get themselves an advantage on this Shrine.
Yeah, Cho'Gall staying very healthy with the double support here. Mixel's, though, putting on some really good damage here. I'm not sure what the kill potential is here for LL, but with that swap, they actually pull Cho'Gall into a vulnerable position. They might be able to follow up, but Mixel's getting low. Legend chasing him down, the boot back into the takedown. Entropy Fails getting low as well. And Legend is still enabling his team to get even further ahead with Lucifer going down.
Huge chase potential coming out from Flame is Lame. As soon as LL decides that they want to go in these team fights, there is no backing out for them, as that extra speed from Lucio is going to allow them to be able to over pursue as much as they want. And it's not really over pursuit, though, if you're getting kills now, is it?
And surprising level 4 talent here on the Tychus. Instead of going something like the bigger they are, going in the rhythm. He's actually expecting very, very long team fights where he's just able to stack. So, you know, we gotta watch out. Mixels might have that minigun stacked up pretty high later into this game if it goes that far.
LL is able to bait over the Punisher, but with so much ammo already missing out of this front wall, it is going to give Flame is Lame some solid siege potential. The Punisher dives in, gets the stun out onto Cypher, and he's going to have to back out here. A lot of damage onto the bottom structure here for Flame is Lame while they're soaking out here. A full level and a half lead coming out in the first half of this one.
Trap Queen even winning up in the top lane here. You're My Boy Blue having to back off, and if he backs at this time, he might actually miss this wave of experience too. So that's, you know, multiple waves of experience being missed on the side of LL, and that has given Flame is Lame about a level and a half after this first Punisher.
And now we get to the macro heavy part of the game, where these teams have gone through this first map objective, and now we're going to start to see how they prioritize these camps. Right away, the side of Flame is Lame going to go ahead and prioritize capturing these mid ones. Aggressive invasion here between Cho'Gall and the Lucio here in the mid. Meanwhile, Dark Chimera in the back there with the Rhaegar able to solo that camp in the back with that Lightning Bond talent, that extra wave clear. And they're going to be looking to put pressure in the mid.
Yeah, I am worried about the team fights later on. Legend and Dark Chimera have been playing very aggressively, but this has all been with Arthas up in the top lane. Once Arthas joins these fights, he adds in a little bit more lockdown. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Lucifer go into a Divine Storm here. If Lucifer can land that on the two supports in the back, Arthas to follow up, I mean, between those two, there's enough damage there to take down the two supports, and that might swing the fights in their favor later in the game.
So we are going to see the Shrine popping in the top lane. Right now, LL actually having a positional advantage here, as they have this Shaman camp up in the top, and it is starting to get to work on this top lane as well. Both turrets down, though, in the top lane for the side of LL. Flame is Lame doing a nice job prioritizing that earlier. But the big story here, Hero, level 10 is now in for Flame is Lame.
Yeah, really unfortunate. LL would love to take a team fight, but without those heroics, they need to make sure they're somewhere else getting experience. I'd like to actually see them start taking some towers here elsewhere on the map. You do have Illidan and Lucio rotating to help cover that. But Shoya is here, not even going to worry about the Shrine. He's going to chase for You're My Boy Blue, and he's got to look out.
The kill potential and the chase potential. Who needs Lucio? Shot and Deadly Ice making the plays here on the Cho'Gall.
And stepping out just a bit too far. I mean, Arthas didn't really have, again, towers for that extra threat. Shoya is ready to just move on forward there. unfortunate there. 4 takedowns to 0. This is just going to push Flame is Lame even further ahead here. With this top Punisher, they'll be guaranteed the top fort here. And now Lucifer getting the hunt on. Legend helping him chase forward. That's another takedown. You're my boy Blue. Not enough peel this time around. That's another staggered death.
You step out a little too far, and all of a sudden, the hunt comes in. It's a trap, Queen, on the hunt, and able to get that pick there. And meanwhile, the Mortar Punisher is going to be popping out in the top lane. LL has gotten their level 10s, and right away, we're going to see Mixels popping that Commandeered Odin. Go ahead and get the damage out, but look at the dive in here from Flame is Lame. The damage is real. The swap coming in to just put Show Ice even further in. But they have successfully baited the Punisher all the way back, but Lily is going to end up falling here in the bot lane.
And Trippy fails with that flank, but being taken down, that Water Dragon not quite feeling for them. Tychus goes down as well with a little extra damage here. And Flame is Lame isn't done. They're going to stick around. These towers are out of ammunition, and they've got a 2-man advantage here.
Yeah, all the while in that bottom lane, Illidan just wailing away, taking the bottom fort out, getting some extra soak. Level 13 is in for Flame is Lame. Still just level 10 over on the side of LL. So now they're going to go ahead and back up and move directly to this mid fort, get even more structure damage out. And now, no matter where this Punisher spawns in the next rotation, it's going to be a big advantage over to Flame is Lame for that push-in.
Yeah, great call, very decisive. Back out, take the front wall of that top, and then move right down into the middle. Take the fort here. The hunt in catches Arthas. Dragon comes down. Trap Queen still moving forward here. They get another takedown, and they've already got this middle fort. They're going to go ahead and take those camps and I think probably look to threaten one of these keep walls.
Yeah, bottom lane pushed out pretty far, but we did see the side of LL picking up that camp earlier. So it looks like they are going to go ahead and prioritize picking up these mid camps. And you're right, they do have the level advantage that they could go ahead and charge in and try and pressure one of these. But right now, I think they're just looking to deny any kind of momentum advantage for the side of LL. And look at this, Lucifer stepping out a little bit too far to collapse in on him. They are Unileska trying to put out the blinds to help out, and they are able to get Lucifer out a little bit. The hunt a little bit too late. Now going to have to come in from a different angle here. No, actually, my bad. Trap Queen actually did make it in there from that hunt onto Uther. And look at the kills just falling down one after the other. Flame is Lame on the chase.
Flame is Lame. Beautifully coordinated team fight there. Twisting Nether onto 4. You get the shield from Lucio, the sound barrier coming down, catching everybody inside of it. A great ancestral to make sure Cho'Gall stays up. And Illidan has been on the other side of the map, hunting, gets a takedown. Guess where he's at now? He's already started the shrine. So incredible team play. 16-12 now. They're sieging down a keep before the shrine's done.
4 levels, 2 talent tiers. What else could you ask for as an advantage if your Flame is Lame? They're going to continue the long-range poke from the Cho'Gall to try and poke this down. All the while, you're right, Illidan just sitting on that shrine, slowly getting them towards 40. And in this bottom lane, there's no fort either, so just one more orb should do it. But the counter engagement here, LL tired of them staying too long here in the mid. They are able to push them back, but not before that keep goes down.
Keep goes down, but the Arcane Punisher coming up. Flame is Lame in a very strong position here. They're going to clean up this bottom wave, march their way in. I love what they're doing here. You rarely ever see Illidan with the team, but he presents that global pressure. It's like, if you decide to go respond to Illidan, well, the other 4 are probably getting value elsewhere. But if you ignore him for too long, he gets too much value. Tricky balance.
Yeah, the macro play is on full display here from Flame is Lame. We are going to see LL trying to counter engage here. The Syndragosa coming out, but it is indeed Flame is Lame on the aggressive side once again. Unileska falls. Lucifer Gonna have to de-shield to back out of this one. You're My Boy Blue, though, still caught out in the middle of Flame is Lame. He will end up following. And all the while, this Punisher getting some serious work done on this bottom keep. But they are going to start moving into core. Lucifer is going to fall. Trap Queen on the chase, able to take down Tychus. And now they will turn around and focus on the core.
And Legend on that Lucio is just zipping and zooming and booping the rest of that team. He is making the moves here, and his auto attacks are actually being very impactful, chasing down low target kills and bumping them out of position here. Flame is Lame with an unexpected composition, but with a 5-level advantage. They take game number 1. GG.
16-0. Flame is Lame flexing their muscles here on Infernal Shrines. Gonna go up 1-0. And it is going to be map pick here for LL. We'll have to see if they can come up with something to be able to go up against one of these, one of the best teams in HGC Open. Flame is Lame.
Yeah, we were looking for Cho'Gall in that first series, but Cho'Gall shows up here in the second series, and it's Flame is Lame that busts it out. So really interesting style that they brought out here. Still a double support. They do have Trap Queen on the Illidan, playing a sort of a pseudo-global style here, making sure that he's away. But, the other 4 stuck together really well, and they executed very well. Executed that composition really well.
Exactly what you would expect to see from a seasoned team such as Flame is Lame. And we're going to be moving on to map number 2. We're going to get in contact with these teams and see where they want to go with this. It looks like the series is moving right along. And we'll have to see where LL wants to take us for this map number 2. Definite rotational advantage for Flame is Lame on that first one. So if you're LL Hero, where do you want to take them for this game number 2?
If I'm LL, I'm not real confident on much more. Where did they beat us? They actually beat us on macro. On that one there, they completely zoned them out of some of those rotations. So I think I'd go for a bigger map. I would go for something like a Warhead and just be as far away as possible, have our own plan, right? If we're going to go with, something like a split push style, pick up Dahaka, pick up some of the other globals, they may decide to run an Illidan again, but we're prepared for that and we pick up some of our globals. That might be the style that we decide to play. So maybe one of those bigger ones, maybe one of the 2-lane maps like Braxis where there aren't a lot of those rotations. But if you get into something where there are, 1-4 style rotations like a Tomb of the Spider Queen or a Dragonshire, they might just out macro you again that way. So I'd pick another one of those battlegrounds where you don't have to run around as much, or at least can't be interrupted from running around as much.
Yeah, I agree. The macro game, it's what you see out of a lot of these top teams is just solid rotations and solid awareness of where you can expect the enemy team to be, and we saw it there. They had very solid rotations, very solid map awareness, and that's where they won the early advantage in the game, that they were able to really snowball. So we'll have to see if LL can take us somewhere where they can maybe try and counter that a little bit and get some macro pressure of their own in the second game.
We just got an invite to the lobby, so I am excited for this one here. Get you in on that one too. This next one actually goes to Towers of Doom.
Yeah, so interesting pick here. I do think that this is one of those where it is pretty important to have that macro pressure as well. But this is definitely one where you can settle out into lanes, get that safe XP, and then just collapse when it's time for these altar phases.
Yeah, really tough battleground though, because there are still some macro elements. In the early game, you could opt to give up a couple of those tower shots, but before you know it, you're down tower walls, and then you're down bell towers for the next phase. All of a sudden, you're down talents, and you don't really know what happened because you thought you'd captured the altars the early game, but all of a sudden you're just down, you're just behind. So let's see what happens in this one. I do expect a lot of double supports again, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, heavy emphasis on the wave clear here on Towers of Doom, as well as the globals. We see a lot of mobility heroes picked up here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Flame is Lame break out something like the Genji. Oh, okay. It looks like they actually chose first pick, so it was map. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, so it looks like both teams are ready to up here. I think we're ready to go. Towers of Doom. This is going to be game number 2. Flame is Lame. They looked hungry. They locked in those insta picks. Let's see what they've got prepared for us now.
Flame is Lame always got something up their sleeve. Once again, is going to be first pick, first ban going over to LL.
And this might be one where, there's no real ban other than Illidan. I think Illidan might be something that they aren't prepared to deal with. They had the Arthas in there already. That didn't really pan out because they wanted Arthas with the team. And it's really the Cho'Gall that was tough to deal with. But are they going to play Cho'Gall again? Well, you gotta think they might. So you have to prepare for that. Greymane was banned out. And this time, that might push them to play it up a little bit higher. But like I said, LL does not seem to have a Greymane player, preferring heroes like Vala over top of them. So I'm not sure if they're prepared against the Illidan or the Cho'Gall.
I see what you did there. Not prepared for the Illidan, but definitely something you got to be prepared for. Is these high execution players that are just so good at positioning. That's where Illidan really thrives. It's also where a hero like Genji thrives. All these high mobility heroes. So we'll have to see what's coming out here for Flame is Lame. They are going to go ahead and ban out the Ariel, and it's like you said, standard to start off here. Dahaka Ariel.
Yeah, and right now, Flame is Lame is actually playing a very strong double support. So the only thing that can out-sustain their double support right now would be something like the Ariel, who's basically unlimited support. So we'll see if LL decides to go that way. I mean, the only other way they can choose to counter, maybe to move into something like a Varian that they've played already, with Mortal Strike, maybe even with a Malfurion to reduce further healing, and just have that kind of negate that double support style. They do have to back that up with a lot of damage. And so if they're going to go with that burst style again, I'd want to see them make sure that they reduce healing as well.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of different mouth builds coming out, but I do really like the healing reduction from the roots. That's something we definitely can't understate, especially against somebody who likes double support so much like Flame is Lame. But just again, the standard startup here, Uther. LL, I think, has had Uther in every game they played tonight, so high prioritization on him. And right away, Rhaegar coming out, and Illidan again. So we're going to go back to the same thing once again here for Flame is Lame.
Yeah, the Uther pick, again, this time, I mean, it's comfort pick. That's great. Hammer of Justice, I do want to see Divine Storm this time. Let's get a lockdown. Let's get that takedown. You would argue that Malfurion would be better for the stall, the interrupts, the long, lengthy fights, even a Twilight Dream into an Illidan coming in. So Uther, he has got to show his first pick priority value and get some value in these fights here.
Always want to get the value out of those early picks, and Flame is Lame has gotten a lot of value out of the Illidan off of that first game. Again, it's another map that favors the globals and favors the mobility heroes, so Illidan is going to have a field day split pushing on this one. And if you can get one of those bell towers, that's a much bigger advantage here on Towers of Doom than it is getting a simple fort in one of the other lanes on one of the other maps.
You know what I like about this draft from Flame is Lame, though? It's the exact same. This means you have to ban Cho'Gall. You have to use your ban, and it has to be Cho'Gall. Because in this early phase, there is no reason for Flame is Lame to play anything else because they've already succeeded. It's up to LL to beat them. And so they go ahead and ban Cho'Gall.
Yeah, Flame is Lame was just fine with the results of that last game. So you're right. They're showing their hand. They're showing it's exactly the same. It's up to LL to go ahead and make the adjustments here, and they do with that Cho'Gall ban. So they're going to force Flame is Lame to play something different.
But that something different is Tassadar and Muradin. Last pick can be flexed out to some big damage. Could be something like a Lunara Li Ming. Probably a Li Ming for the Anubarak Cocoon. But either way, this is a very strong 4-man. Extremely scary when executed well. We might see another Arthas here. And really, I think right now might be that Zarya moment. A little feel the heat. A little bit of the expulsion zone. You've got some tools there with the Zarya. I don't know if they have that player.
Yeah, Nubarak Ragnaros as that front line. We did see that. We did see the Ragnaros be fairly successful for LL in their last series. Like you said, this is the pick that we see on Towers of Doom on occasion. It does have the ability to stall out some of those altar phases, give you some time to re-rotate, regroup, and try and go after one of these altars. But 2 last picks coming out here for LL. Probably will need some backline damage, so they're going to go with the Gul'dan. And going back to the comfort pick of the Artanis. They do prioritize it a little bit lower this time, but they're going to go back to what they know.
You know, in some ways, this isn't bad at all. They had some really impactful horrifies here that if we see some of those again, Flame is Lame might be caught off guard here. They might be thinking, oh man, why Gul'dan into this? But they haven't seen the horrifies yet. With the Artanis as well, you know, throwing down some of those blinds at the right time might be just enough as well. So we'll have to see how this plays out. I'm hoping, again, Uther gets the value that he needs. Is there a target you really want to de-shield? I'm not too sure. I think you're going to get more out of Divine Storm. Let's see how it goes.
Li Ming going to be the final pickup here for Flame is Lame. Looking to get those resets. Looking to snowball off of the advantage that infinite chase ability from Illidan can give you. A lot of backline damage. And it's a good counter to the Anubarak web wrap. That Disintegrate can instantly take out those web wraps. So a solid, nice round draft from the side of Flame is Lame. To see if they can execute it in the second game like they did in that first game.
Yeah, Flame is Lame. Still definitely winning those long team fights. They've got double support against the Uther, who really cannot stick around for too long. So I can see Li Ming here even going in for something like an orb build just to keep raining down tons of damage here. But let's get into it. Towers of Doom.
If I had to take a wild guess, I would say that standard Calamity build is still what's coming out from Legend. But you know, we'll have to see what direction he wants to take this in. We are loaded in. Towers of Doom, game number 2. Flame is Lame, up 1-0 so far here. Shot is going to be on the Muradin. Legend on Li Ming. Dark Chimera going to be playing the Rhaegar. Deadly Ice on the Illidan. And Trap Queen going to be playing the Tassadar.
10 seconds.
All right, Team LL. Unaleska playing Artanis one more time. You're my boy, Blue. Running it back to the Gul'dan. Lucifer. Does he have another hero? It's Uther. Mixel's on the Ragnaros, and Entropy fails on a Nubrak.
Do you really need another healer? I mean, another hero? Let's be honest. Uther is just enough.
Uther is pretty strong, but I would like to see him switch it up a little bit. I would really like to see the Divine Storm. I think he's gone Divine Shield both times here, and it's really hard to choose a target. Once you Divine Shield someone, Illidan just bounces off and he dashes to another one, changes his target, but as soon as that shield comes off, he's right back on you.
Yeah, that 3 seconds may not be enough to turn these fights over to the side of LL. However, that Divine Storm might be enough to keep them in place long enough to get the value out of the Horrify, get the damage coming in from Sulfurous Smash, and from, but Artanis falling in the mid lane. Unaleska goes down, but some decent amount of return damage coming out on a shot into Dark Chimera. But it's going to be First Blood going over to Flame is Lame.
And Flame is Lame, just having a look at their builds. Leaping actually goes into Force Armor here. That might push her more into just a full Q build if she decides to go that way here. Psi Infusion For the Tassadar, though, this is becoming a little bit more popular instead of going into the Templar's will. A little bit surprising, especially since they do have double warrior up on the front line here. But you can get a lot of damage done with the Psy Storms, and later on, if you take the 2 Psy Storms, you've got tons of delay on the altars.
Yeah, that 16 talent can be super impactful for the Tassadar late game. It does give you a lot of good wave clear potential, and like I said, that siege potential, it can be real. Deadly Ice going in deep here is going to get stunned, but they are going to just go directly onto that turret, trying to get as much value as they can out of these sappers. Dark Chimera actually wanting to stay in here, but they will end up backing off. The altar phase has activated, and look at the aggressive approach here from Flame is Lame, already pushing Unalesca out of this top area. We're even going to see Molten Core to try and stall, but that's going to be all they're going to be able to do. They're going to get that bottom one, however, casted, as they were able to outnumber the Li Ming in the bot lane.
Yeah, so they do give one up in the bottom. They're trying to delay this, but honestly, it might just go over to the side of LL here because of the delay. Lucifer, though, getting really low. Deadly Ice wants it, and he's chasing for it here. He might even go deep.
Now, we'll eventually hop back over the wall. They're going to refocus their efforts on getting this altar. They are able to cast the altar on their own side there. And now this is going to end up turning into a full 5v5. Just as I say that, though, Deadly Ice going to rotate out and leave this as a 4v4. And LL going to take full advantage of that. Entropy fails, diving back in with low health, and Legend is going to get started on the resets. But right now it looks like just a stalling game so that Illidan can side soak and start to get them a huge XP lead.
Yeah, great swap from Yuna here, going right out onto Trap Queen first to get things started. But the return from Li Ming gets them a takedown. And Deadly Ice, though, has squeaked out about a level and a half lead here. So we talk about macro. Deadly Ice is pushing their team way ahead.
Yeah, they give up two of those altars for the exchange of about a level lead here for Flame is Lame. Generally a good trade to make here on Towers of Doom as you start to get to these later altar phases. But looks like both teams rotating towards this top camp. We're going to end up in a 2v2 here. Legend and Dark Chimera versus Unalesca and Mixels. Right now, LL getting the better of that exchange. You're my boy Blue and Cypher actually coming up to help with this. And they are going to be able to capture that Sappers.
Yeah, really nice rotation just to deny them that little bit of an advantage in the top lane again. Had they gotten those sappers again, top bell tower goes down to about half, but they end up giving away the bottom sappers here, and this is going to be a really strong push here. LL overreacting to the top lane, but meanwhile the bottom lane is where all the action's happening.
Yeah, and Flame is Lame know that it's going to be a long rotation for LL to come back into this one. Entropy fails, not going to be able to stop it. Has to burrow charge out, and that is going to be the bottom bell tower going over to the side of Flame is Lame right as these top two altars are ready to activate here.
Yeah, timing couldn't be better for Flame is Lame. They take the bottom bell tower, and this is going to be 2 captures up in the top. Even if they trade out here, this is going to go in their favor. It looks like Flame is Lame is actually setting up for a gank in the bottom lane, though.
Yeah, right as LL starts to turn around to try and get this, they're going to engage in a 4v5. Meanwhile, in the top, LL looking to just deny, and Unalesca is able to get in with that swap to stall Dark Chimera. With so many members in the bot, they are able to cast their own, and now it's going to be up to Dark Chimera if he can get this one interrupt onto Lucifer, and is going to be able to force them back here with the full rotation coming in. Looks like with level 10 as well, they are going to be able to punish. Unalesca falls, and Lucifer is going to be able to barely make it out with his life there.
Yeah, a shot locks him down, the nice dwarf toss into the Stormbolt. That secures another takedown. 6 takedowns to 1 in all, level 10 to level 8. And just like we said at the beginning of the game, we let you have the first 2, but all of a sudden you're down levels and talents.
Yeah, that is going to start snowballing later in the game. Going to make it rough for them to be able to contest on even footing. And still an entire level until they get this level 10. You're my boy Blue with a little bit of a risky rotation in here. And right away, Flame is Lame is going to end up punishing him for it. As that's going to be 2 for nothing. Entropy fails also in here. Is going to have to try to disengage if he can. The body blocks are real from Deadly Ice, however. And that's going to end up being a 3 for nothing exchange. And they will turn to get the bell tower.
So scary. Rhaegar, Tassadar, and Illidan. This is a very much coordinated, very powerful, and those body blocks, you are right. They held a Nubarak in place. He had nowhere to go.
Now they're going to turn around and get the boss after they get that top bell tower. Level 10's still not quite here for LL. Nothing that they can do to contest this. They do go ahead and pick up those bottom sappers to at least be pushing out in the bot lane while they capture this top bell tower back.
Pretty amazing here. Li Ming actually goes into a wave of force. I think they've got Tassadar who can burn through cocoons rather quickly as well. I think Legend is just going for displacement and just full-on team fight utility here.
Yeah, Trap Queen also going into the Archon here. But we will see the swap in onto Shot. However, Sulfura Smash not quite hitting the mark there. And there will be a small window of opportunity here for the side of LL to be on the same talent tiers. Looks like Flame is Lame working on that 13, though. They do have Deadly Ice in the bottom soaking that. And it'll come up just in time for this altar phase to begin. Ragnaros popping that Molten Core to try and stall out for a bit.
Bit of an early Molten Core here, and level 13, they're going to go ahead and look for that team fight. You're my boy Blue goes down already. The rest of the team trying to get away now. Unalesca and Entropy, they are getting body blocked. They are getting bodied here, and it is just Lucifer. The hunt comes in. Deadly Ice isn't done yet. That's going to be another takedown. They end up getting the capture, though, but now full control over to Flame is Lame. They might be able to just 6-cap this one.
Sneaky Mixels going around the back, capturing the altar. Gonna give them something to be happy about here. However, stepping out a little bit too far, and Flame is Lame is gonna poke him down. Legend getting in there is gonna get the pick off with that last Archaean missile. My goodness, the play coming out from Legend here.
Legend from downtown gets that takedown. And now they're on the full retreat, though. 3-on-3. They got to be careful. The hunt comes in. Deadly Ice is here. And that's going to be going down with the first reset. Legend is out of mana, though. Doesn't matter. Nubarak goes down. Yuna's the only one left. 5 in the middle. Bottom has sappers running in. Middle is nearly taken down. They're making their way towards that top for that 6-cap.
Yeah, LL going to have to rotate out here to protect against these sappers. And you're right, the 6-cap is something that they definitely have to worry about here. But the question is, are they going to rotate to try and defend this bottom bell tower? It looks like Dark Chimera, that's the play he wants to make. But not going to have enough help here to stall out for long. Showing to be a little bit of a nuisance and a pressure. Able to dodge, but look at the swap in and the fear coming out. Dark Chimera is in a ton of trouble here. And LL is on the chase, but Dark Chimera is still trying to make it out here. No. Hero! How?
Chimera with the great escape. The swap into the Horrify. You thought that'd be enough. He goes all the way around, uses his lightning shield to get himself a little bit extra sustain. And he makes his way out. All the while, top is taken, middle is taken. They're looking to come take the bottom with double ultra spawning. This is trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be 10 shots flying over into the core here. Meanwhile, the battle in the bottom. Mixels is actually going to break this one up a bit. Flame is Lame. We'll go ahead and scatter off the heels of that Molten Core. Kind of a message sent out to LL saying, well, okay, you guys can spend that cooldown and we'll be back as soon as you guys are done with it. Nice bro charge out there.
Yeah, Entropy fails, gets away with that bro charge. Hunt is down. Hey, there's that Divine Storm. Unfortunately, it's an isolated Lucifer, and he goes down. And there's Cocoon, but already too late. Level 16 to level 13. We're looking at the bottom bell towers being flipped over again one more time to Flame is Lame. And they're already putting pressure on the middle one too.
Yeah, Flame is Lame has been just a little bit ahead in the macro in this one since the beginning. And even though they're giving up some of those shots on the bell towers, they know that they have the long game well in hand here, as long as this one continues to go in their favor in terms of these rotations. Unaleska able to take back this top bell tower, and they're struggling to keep up in this bell tower race right now.
Yeah, this is a scary moment here. They're going to take top sappers. Bottom is pressured by Illidan with his sappers. Triple phase is coming up, and the boss is going to be up. The game is probably going to end in the next couple minutes here.
Yeah, this is that moment where LL has been able to keep their head above water, but those roosters are starting to come home to roost indeed in this triple altar phase. 4-level lead here for Flame is Lame. And they'll need to make sure that they get at least one of these to even keep the game going here. Mixel's stepping out a little bit far. Deadly Ice able to avoid the stun there. Mixels is going to end up falling in the bot lane, while Shot and Legend are stalling up in the top. First bell tower captured in the bot, and I expect a rotation soon to the top.
Mixels and Lucifer there, they didn't really stand much of a chance there. Horrify gets murdered off of him, but Gul'dan goes down. Artanis goes down. This is going to do it. Flame is Lame on that triple phase. They're going to capture the rest of these bell towers.
They will still need one more shot, but look at them. Rotate right to the middle. They're going to take down this. Dark Chimera are going to rotate to that top altar. Cast that just in time to be able to get it. And Flame is Lame cleaning up here in game number 2 with a very strong series coming out. And they're going to be able to take out LL 2-0 here in the series. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Now he's got the cap.
That's going to do it. Yeah, Flame is Lame. Playing very impressively. GG's, well played.
So let's take a look at the